Good evening. I'm going to call to order the Concord Township Zoning Commission meeting for Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026. Let us stand and honor our country. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Heather, can we have roll call for the board, please?
Mr. Terriaco?
Yes.
Mr. Ruppert?
Yes.
Mr. Schindler?
Yes.
Mr. Eiffelise?
Here. We're going to skip our approval of minutes since we do not have minutes from our last meeting, and move right to public participation section. Sorry. Anybody wishing to speak from the public to the board at this time?
For the public hearing, there'll be a separate public
Yes, ma'am.
participation for the hearing.
Yes, ma'am. There being none, we'll move on. In the interest of time, and since we do have a public hearing, we're going to entertain new business. So we have a little bit of change in order here. And so the new business is next. And the board will recall last month we approved the site plan review application for property owners University Hospital. Tonight we have the amended design review application number 63, represented by Mike Lepowski with Perspectives Architecture on behalf of the property owner University Hospitals, is requesting design review approval for a canopy addition and pad for a mobile MRI trailer for the property located at 7590 Auburn Road, being current parcel number 08-A-0-0-9-0-0-045-0. We have a representative here this evening, and you don't look like Mike. Please, your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kevin Podizak. I represent Ohio Awning. We are the manufacturer of said canopy.
Good.
And we are located at 5777 Grant Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44105. We have been tasked by university hospitals to design and build and install the actual canopy portion of this project. Mm-hmm. The canopy itself, as you probably saw last month, is rather large. It's 52 feet overall in length and as wide as 20 feet going in the direction where the trailer will meet up with the canopy. The goal of this is to provide a warm and experience for a patient to come out and stay dry underneath this canopy as they load onto the platform lift of the actual mobile trailer. The canopy and awning will consist of a gable section that comes out 30 feet from the building. It will attach to the building with what we call Z-clips. The Z-clips will be lagged into the building with LDTs, and you will have brackets approximately 4 feet apart on that section. The other sections will through bolt with 5/16 bolts as it joins in the middle, and those will be roughly 2 feet apart on center, and those will support the connections. The actual uprights will be 3-inch square aluminum, and then we will have ladder posts at the section in the middle so that it strengthens it from a wind standpoint. The shed will then pitch approximately to 14'2" to clear the trailer as needed, you know, based on past experiences of building these. We have built several of these over the years. This one has been engineered by a structural engineer as far as the difference from last month. We now have that completed and submitted. It is designed for 30 pounds of snow per square foot, 90-mile-an-hour winds, and a live load of 5 pounds per square foot on this. The material that we'll be using is a flame-resistant acrylic-coated polyester called Top Gun FR. It meets flame retardant requirements via the state. This typically can be anywhere from a 10 to 15 year lifespan as far as this particular skin, and this will be the primary color of the actual canopy and the sides. The clear vinyl windows will provide some natural light, and there will be obviously heating and some other additional lights from the contractor doing the build out of the pad. So that'll be provided by Infinity Construction, who's on site doing that part, as well as the concrete. The canopy will have 2 exit doors. Both will be 4-foot doors. They will be steel commercial exterior grade doors that will be painted to match the color of the fabric, which is again a tan color. I believe we picked out a Sherwin-Williams color called Ligonier, and that will blend into the canopy, so that when the canopy is in use, there will be 2 exit doors one near the building and then one out front that will connect the sidewalk to the actual entrance there, to maintain pedestrian traffic there. The goal of this is certainly to make it as inconspicuous with the color with the building. It is a rather large structure, so we understand that, you know, it is going to be there for, you know, it's meant to be permanent as far as we know. In some cases, we have removed them based on you know, improvements in technology down the road. But this is meant to be up for multiple covers as we understand from UH. The frame is all aluminum. It'll be mill finish. The anchors will be LDTs with a 3-inch embedment into the concrete, which is going to be a 6-inch pad where the posts go. With that, I guess I'd open up any questions you guys may have.
Sure, thank you there's a significant amount of detail here, thank you.
Yeah, we apologize. I mean, we didn't realize that this was going to be needed for design review at the time, and we were rushing to get it submitted for that meeting, and our engineer was certainly thorough, as we expect him to be, and of course we want to build this as safely as possible and strongly as possible. So.
Sure.
Because you get a little snow out here.
No apologies necessary, I think. So you mentioned Infinity on site. Does Ohio Awning do the installation?
Yes.
I mean,
We will do the whole installation of the canopy itself. They will do all electrical, mechanical stuff.
Very good. Board, I had gentlemen who have had questions last month. If you do, please bring them forth.
How do you attach the canopy to the frame?
It's going to be typically mounted with a series of moldings and actual self-tapping screws to the frame. So the cover will be hemmed in accordance with, you know, 3 thicknesses probably as it's hemmed to the frame, and it's attached with self-tapping screws across the span about approximately 8 to 10 inches apart on the bottom of the valance there.
And you have these in some other installations?
Yes, I mean, we've done several through the clinic. I mean, and UH and Metro. you know, they're all different because every door and entrance is a different distance from the building. We did one similar about, I don't know, 18 years ago that was about this size for a Cleveland clinic, and the only reason that it didn't stay up was they didn't use it anymore. So as far as longevity, we have typically would replace a cover, like I said, about 10 to 15 years. So the frame would be recoverable at that point with, you know, whatever the best fabric is at that time. We like this fabric because it's not super heavy. There will be some attention to the cover from an uplift standpoint. We will have some Velcro straps that will be screwed onto the frame, typically to keep the uplift minimized also, so it doesn't, you know, take off on us. But it'll be anchored several spots on the actual concrete. And the side panels, although they're permanent, they could be removed if weather was. They're individual, so that if we ever have to replace a window, which is like the weakest link on these, we can replace one panel at a time and not inconvenience, you know, from a weather standpoint, the customer.
Very good. Right, anything?
So the canopy is just there to help people get in and out from the building to the
Yeah.
trailer. There won't be anything stored in there.
No, this is ambulatory patients, so they have to be able to walk typically on something like this. So they will need it to be clear of anything, you know, on the basis of when the trailer is there. So there will be no plans, because it's also an entrance for staff, I believe. So,
Okay.
yeah, it'll be maintain that clearance, yeah, throughout the week.
Okay. Ron, any questions?
No, sir. He answered the questions as I already had them written down as you discussed. So I'm good.
Very good. Very good. There's nothing else that the board has. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
presentation. Thank you for the detail. Thank you for providing
For sure.
all of this. This is very important. So I will, at this point, entertain a motion to approve the design review application number 63.
I so move that we approve the revised application number 63 for prospectus architecture for the mobile trailer pad and accessories.
Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please. Heather?
Mr. Terriaco?
Yes.
Mr. Reppert?
Yes,
Mr. Schindler?
Yes.
Mr. Ifelis?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You'll be seeing
Thank you,
this soon.
board. Okay.
Yeah, I had a question regarding.
Do you need me to sign in?
Oh, if you want to.
Sure.
I have a question. You said it was ambulatory?
As far as I know, I mean, that's what
Ma'am.
they usually.
Wheelchair?
Ma'am,
Wheelchair
can we,
Oh,
can we,
Oh, sorry.
sorry, I just was trying to find out.
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
actually.
all right. Next on our agenda is the public hearing. The first thing you need to do is entertain a motion to recess our regular meeting and move into the public hearing. Please.
so move.
Motion to recess the regular meeting,
Second.
and we have a second. Roll call? Do I need a roll call?
You do not have to.
You don't have to be roll call, but
Yeah, we're good.
still should take a vote.
Correct.
Yeah, it should, yeah.
Take a
All in
vote.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, thank you. So let me call to order the public hearing for the following proposed zoning text amendments. Amendment number 1, revise section 30, XXX, sign regulations, including updating purpose statements, definitions, temporary and permanent sign allowances, prohibited signs, design and illumination criteria, administrative procedures, adding new rules for flagpoles, and a severability and substitution clause. Amendment number 2, revise section 5.02, parentheses A, parentheses 776, to amend the definition of flag. Amendment number 3, revise section 11.01H to adjust the cross-reference to section 30.15 in regards to temporary and permanent signs. Amendment number 4, revise section 15.02A to add flagpoles to the list of accessory uses and to delete 15.03H flagpoles. Relocate garage sale regulations to new section 15.03M. Amendment number 5, revise section 22.03 table of uses to add flagpoles. Revise section 22.07 to add new section E flagpoles. Amendment number 6, revise appendix 1 zoning fee schedule to add fees for solar energy systems and electric vehicle charging stations, and revise fees for sign permit applications. Those are the 6 amendments we have before us in our public hearing. This public hearing was advertised in the News Herald and on the township website on February 13th, 2026, and has been available for public examination and review at Concord Township Hall and on the township website for at least 10 days before today. Before we move to public comments, we did receive, and what we will do is consider the recommendations from the Lake County Planning Commission. It's a letter dated February the 25th, 2026, from the Lake County Planning Commission regarding these text amendments. Procedurally, I'm not going to read the letter verbatim into the record, but we will discuss each of these recommendations here and use for discussion. There'll be no motion or move to approve until we recess from the public hearing. But this is for discussion purposes only. So we're calling on Heather and the board as we go through this. So if I draw your attention to the letter of February 25th, the first one, I'll just overview or comment that on number 5, it's reviewing the definitions in 30.02, number 5, the banner sign. And from my read, it's a simple, I would say it's fairly simple addition indicating that screws and nails are also means of attachment for a banner sign. Are there any comments from the board or from Heather on that? I have no objection. Anything, Heather?
So I took a look at all of the recommendations in the letter, specific to the definitions. I guess just this first, and these all have to do with amendment number 1, which are specific
Yes.
to section 30. I felt like, after reviewing everything that we had worked on over the last several months and taking a look at what Planning Commission has recommended, I didn't feel like we needed to add in screws and nails on this, as we do kind of cover that under a similar method, which is stated right after cord, rope, and cable. So
Good point.
it
Thank you.
didn't
Okay.
stand out to me as something significant that we need to do.
Okay.
In fact, I was not really in agreement with any of the recommendations regarding the definition changes. So I think what we have is good.
Okay. For me, I guess I understand what you said about banner signs, but perhaps we can take them one by one. There's not that many
Okay.
here. So on number 12, again, this is under the definitions of a flag. It relates to an insertion of a group, cause, event, activity, or a public or private sports team. I didn't object to that, but is it just overdone, Heather, or is what?
Well, so I think by adding in what they're suggesting, we're completely changing the definition. So the way that we have the definition of flag, we're saying that it's for non-commercial copy. So non-commercial copy, which And then we give an example of, you know, a government or political subdivision. And I think this, you know, if you look at what they're saying with number 13, you know, then we have flag sign, right? So we have flag, which is non-commercial copy. And then we have flag sign, which we're prohibiting later on in the zoning resolution, you know, which flag sign is basically just a temporary sign that flutters, that may have a commercial message, right? We don't define that, or may not have a commercial message. The point was to make a distinction between a flag and a flag sign.
Good points. For me, thank you, Heather. The temporary sign, number 32, I thought was not necessary, indicating the portability, striking the word portable. I didn't think that was necessary either. I assume you agree.
Not necessary to
Yeah.
remove it?
Correct.
Right, I think we should
Right.
keep it.
Right. Correct. Yes. Yeah.
It's the one thing that kind of makes it a distinction between, you know,
Yes.
a permanent sign as well.
Yes. So those are related to the definition section. Given Heather's comments, any of the board have any comments or questions related to that?
None here, Mr. Chairman.
No, I thought a lot of this stuff was redundant, for one thing.
Very good.
And if it wasn't, it was already covered in our current zoning as far as
Okay.
I was concerned, so.
I concur, no changes needed for those.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Heather. Okay.
Sure.
30.04, number A1. So I just put a question mark there because I didn't quite understand what the recommendation is. What do
Yeah, I
you,
think they were just asking, now, if you recall, 30.04 is regarding permanent signs,
correct.
and
Oh, I
A1
should-
was for the residential lots. So
Correct.
they're questioning, is a total of 6 square feet distributed between 3 different signs enough permanent signage for a residential lot? And I know we've talked about that.
We did.
Well, then that's currently what we have in the resolution, right?
Yeah.
We have 6 right now. We have the one up to 3, and then 2 smaller ones, 1.5 square feet each. The 3 square foot sign would require a permit. Again, these are permanent signs, while the other 2 would not. And they're pointing out that some folks have larger, like kind of antique signs that they might have hanging on a barn in their yard. I think that's what they're referring to here, you know. And those would be considered signage, and, you know, likely, I guess, is what he's suggesting, that those would be over the 6 square feet.
Right. Any comments from the board? I see no reason to change what we have.
No. I think we're
Very
good.
good. 30.07C is, let me go to 30.07. 30.07 is changeable copy signs. And under C, it's, my read is they just want to change the word site to premise. And strike the word commercial. Comments, Heather, on that one?
I was fine with what we had.
I concur. I was like,
Yeah.
again,
I concur.
Me too.
objection. Thank you. 30.08K, the section here, they're suggesting that we add a time frame in which a banner should be replaced or removed if it gets damaged. Comment on that, Heather? Is this,
Well,
is
we
this one of
have,
those?
we have general maintenance standards for
We
all
do.
signs in
3017.
30.14B3 that talks about like keeping it in a good,
Yep.
it doesn't specify a time frame,
Yeah.
but it basically says that the sign has to be in good shape. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm
I
paraphrasing.
would agree.
here. I could-
Seems like the addition of that seems onerous to even,
Neat, orderly
Police and force.
condition. Yeah.
okay. Any,
No,
we're in agreement? Board?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Oh, 3.10 flagpoles. So we had a good amount of discussion about that. So their recommendations here are about what average flagpoles are 20 to 25 feet in height. Staff would support only one flagpole. You should not put a limit on the number of flagpoles below 25 feet. It is not uncommon for a building to have 2 or 3 flagpoles. Yeah,
I thought that's just what we were trying to get away from.
I think so. Heather, any?
I mean, I know we talked about this a few times.
We did.
I thought what we had was pretty good, and, you know, we do have the allowance if there's more than 150 feet
Feet of
of frontage
frontage.
on the lot, that they could have another flagpole.
Flagpole.
And then, I guess if there's special circumstances, you know, there's.
Well, if there were
the-
special circumstances, this could be taken to the board, right, ZBA,
Yeah,
for their consideration.
yeah. And just-
Myself, I don't think it would be an issue, but if it was, they can take it to BZA,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
No objection? We're good? We're good with that
We're
as
good.
well? Thank you again, Heather. And the last was a suggestion that indicating under the signs that are exempt that the term appropriate time of year is a violation of the First Amendment. Should I ask the lawyer in the room?
I really have no comment on that. I don't know. Just-
I mean,
Brian?
listen, these are the zoning, or the planning commission's, you know, recommendations. The
Yeah.
township does not have to,
Yes.
you know, follow them. I don't know that that is that might be an interpretation, from somebody, but I do not think that that is the intent, from our amendments. Plus with our purpose statements that we are, you know, specifically
Specific.
adding here. We are not trying to infringe upon anyone's constitutional rights, and anything that perhaps could be interpreted that way, we will probably, you know, err on the side of allowing this.
Allow it. Thank you, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Okay, if the board is in concurrence, I guess we thank the planning commission for the comments, but I don't hear any of us looking to make any revisions as a result. We're accepting any of the recommendations for our sign regs. Am I correct on that?
For me, you're correct.
Very good, very good. Thank you, and thank you, Heather, for coming, reviewing on that, appreciate it. So now we'll open up this hearing to public comments. Anyone is here to come and speak, please identify yourself by stating your name and address. We'll hear from you, please. That's you, please.
What do you do? There used to be the stand, maybe, can you, I don't want to hold. Turn it around that.
We'll do our,
An accommodation, that was an accommodation.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, you can still face them.
Right. There shouldn't be a problem, thank you.
Good
Hello,
evening.
everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Vanessa Pesic, 11705 Cali Court, Concord, Ohio, 44077.
Welcome.
And I wanted to thank you for your commitment in reviewing the zoning texts to make sure that they're accurate and consistent. I appreciate all your work with that. I have several topics that I'd like to cover regarding the proposed sign zoning text in this public hearing. First and foremost is the right to free speech, especially political speech, enshrined in the Constitution. The proposed sign language zoning text conflicts with the binding federal court order that this township signed regarding political free speech. Adopting the zoning text would expose the township to contempt of court and litigation costs. The case is Vanessa Pesic and Susan Hanna versus Concord Township, Ohio, United States District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, case number 1:04 CV 2124. The federal court order, in part, I'll just read the pertinent part, states the defendants agree and will be permanently enjoined in the future from passing or enforcing any resolution or instituting any policy or regulations with respect to political signs that don't any of the following: require a permit or proof of a bond, impose a durational limit on the posting of political signs, limit the number of political signs that they can property owner can post on the property, and limit the total number of political signs a property owner may post. So several of the sections in 30.9 under temporary signs sections, as well as maybe under flag signs, I'm not sure about that, didn't read that section carefully, are problematic. Under 30.9G, it says signs during elections. And it restricts timing. 30 days prior to the day absentee ballots are available, and 3 days following the number of signs are permitted and allowed. So that's imposing a time restriction that the court order does not permit. And then if we took that section away, also under regular temporary signs, section C2, temporary signs shall be displayed for no more than 4 times per year, not to exceed 30 days. And so again, we have a time limit for that number. So as a reminder, violating a federal court order can constitute contempt of court. It reopens the township to the same litigation they've already lost and settled, and legal fees and damages would fall on taxpayers. And so you don't need to take my word for it. Your own attorney should be asked in writing to explain how this proposed language is consistent with case 1:04 CV 2124 that I'd already forwarded to the township several weeks ago. And I get it. I understand that it's sometimes really frustrating to see signs in yards long after an election, and it may not look pretty and everything, or it may not be the candidate that you wanted, or whatever. And I understand that. But trying to regulate these political messages is really is a big problem, and we really need to follow the Constitution and protect political free speech. And so I would ask that you postpone this hearing, or I guess you call it continuance, so that you can look fully and carefully at all sections of the text before you pass it along. I would also like, separately from the political free speech, to just touch on a couple of other parts of the text, and I just have some questions for you, and if you can answer them for me, I'd really appreciate it. We don't usually do the back and forth, so I'll list them. There aren't too many, and then you can go ahead and do them. So the first is under 30.9 temporary signs. Each resident can have one or more signs that are only of a certain size or combination of sign, and that the temporary sign shall be displayed no more than 4 times a year for a period of 30 days. And so does that mean that I can't put up a house for sale sign more than 30 days? Is the first question, and only 4 times. And the second is, and I'm just hypotheticals, but just it kind of helps me to give the hypothetical. If my son plays football and I want to put up Go Riverside Football during the duration of the football season, which is about 3 months, the current section doesn't allow me to do that. Mm-hmm. And then Then also, if my daughter played softball in the spring, I've used up 2 or 3 of those 30-day increments, and I only have 4 total. Then can I not put up the same number in the spring for Go Riverside softball? And then, on top of that, if I wanted to post another sign, be it a political sign or be it a yard sale sign or a We Love the Concord Parade sign, if I've already used up my 4 signs, can I not add another sign for another kind? And then within that, it talks about regulating signs in windows, which to me kind of felt a little intrusive in that you're regulating the inside of my house. And, you know, if my son loves Ohio State Buckeyes, can I have Buckeye curtains that show through the window? Or a political message of curtains, or a flag that's a curtain, or, I mean, it seemed to bring up some questions. So those were the kinds of questions that I had for that section. Okay, moving on to section 30.02, under definitions, that the temporary sign, purpose of being displayed only temporarily, and permanent signs, manner suitable continuous exposure to the elements without deterioration, and need to be permanently attached. What do I do if I have beware of dog sign? Does it have to be weatherproofed and permanently put into a foundation on the ground or in the stone? Or if I have a no soliciting, I couldn't put that in the window, or beware the dog in the window, because then it's a temporary sign. I'd have to take it out every 30 days, put it back for 30 days. So some kind of warning signs and things like that. So I had those kinds of questions, because I don't think you intend to make it so that I have to go spend money to get a special metal beware of dog sign and find a way to permanently attach it to the outside of my house, or a pole, or build a little masonry thing at the front of my driveway. I'm sure that's not your intent. So how do you figure that? How do we figure that kind of a situation? 30.12, under prohibited signs, I didn't understand this. If signs with wheels or signs on vehicles or trailers placed for attention getting identification or advertising purposes would be considered prohibited, does that mean that I couldn't have a cargo van with the ad of my business on the side parked in my driveway every night? How about an a magnetic sign for a candidate from, say August through this November election for a candidate? How does that work with the prohibition of signs like that? That seems to be political free speech, and so there needs to be some etched out for political signs on cars or anything like that. But additionally, businesses that have a logo or whatever, I didn't quite understand why you would prohibit a sign on a vehicle. And I think the last one I have is 30.14, construction and maintenance standards. Okay. Each sign shall contain the current name, address, and telephone number of the firm or person responsible for erecting the sign. And it can be small. And I wasn't sure is that also for a political sign? because the Ohio Revised Code, section 3517.20 states paid for by name of the entity, Friends of Vanessa or whatever, is sufficient. You don't have to add additional information. So name, address, and telephone number for political signs is the question, since Ohio Revised Code doesn't include that, but also for all signs. Go Riverside Football. Do I need my name, address, and signature, or am I missing something on some of these? And it could very well be I wasn't privy to all your discussions, so, but those are questions that I had. So to sum up, I don't believe that you should be passing the zoning ordinance that contradicts the federal court order regarding political signs here in Concord. You're already bound by the law that Concord signed, and it would just create a liability and a tax burden. And it's really in regards to 30.09 temporary signs, but it might also be flags and other things. I didn't read through some of that other stuff, mainly I just read through the 30 section. And then if you could provide answers to those other questions that I have, because I'd really like to understand those sections a little bit better. That's it. I know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I try to read these things as carefully as possible.
Oh, you did.
I
My
think
compliments.
it's important.
Thank you for your coming here and bringing them to our attention.
No problem.
Ms. Bessett.
If you
So-
have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I'll begin, first of all, just this date. I was made aware of the consent judgment entry. And the reason I say that is this board went to great extent to not even mention political signs. And we went to a great deal of effort, advised by legal counsel, and our knowledge of what the First Amendment is, which is stated in the regulations. So we took that seriously. So you're raising a question about, first of all, the first one, related to the duration, signs during elections. That's your first.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
that was-
Signs during elections are basically political signs. Can be.
We didn't, there's no
Yeah,
statement to that effect
Right,
here.
that's okay.
And there is no restriction during that time period. So that one, I have to defer to our legal counsel to comment. We were comfortable with it. We spent a lot of time on this, but whether that is still a concern legally, I guess we need some advice.
Sure.
Can you comment on that?
Sure.
Right.
So I did review the consent judgment entry that was entered into between the township and yourself. The first thing is there is no definition in the sign regulations, or at least in these proposed amendments, as to a political sign. We are not categorizing any sign as political sign. We are not. We also have a purpose statement that anything that could be construed as everything is supposed to be interpreted in a content neutral manner, accepting some of these legally recognized exceptions. But with respect to what the township agreed that it cannot do going forward, unless there's a case law in the Sixth Circuit or the United States Supreme Court, but otherwise, is that cannot require a permit or posting of a bond with respect to any political sign. These regulations do not do that. With respect to imposing any durational limit on the posting of political signs on private property, these regulations do not do that. With respect to limiting the number of political signs a property owner may post on his or her property for a particular candidate, issue, or cause, the proposed amendments do not do that. And with respect to limiting the total number of political signs a property owner may post on his or her property, again, these proposed amendments do not do that. They expressly do not do that. I think what the intent behind the signs during elections was to recognize the trend and reality of the increase of signs in general during this time period. And to just regulate the actual, and the purpose here was to make sure that we were trying to avoid clutter, reduce confusion, try to reduce distraction with respect to signs. But during this time period, there is a trend, generally speaking, to have more signs out. And so that, I think, is what really the intent was behind signs during elections. Now, again, there is no distinction between what kind of signs, as far as political signs. These are I suppose a political sign could be considered a temporary sign, but with respect to the purpose that we are adding to these proposed amendments, or as one of the amendments, which is to make sure that everything is interpreted in a content-neutral manner, I think these regulations or these proposed amendments do not violate the consent judgment entry or anyone's right to free speech because of the fact that they are going to be, and we have stated that they are going to be interpreted in a content-neutral manner with reasonable restrictions such as how big the sign is, I suppose. But we've even talked, I think, internally about exactly how that would be enforced, quite frankly, from our zoning department. It's very hard to enforce. A lot of these signs, not all, but a lot of the signs that we talk about during elections, not necessarily political signs, but, they don't, they might be there offending somebody, but then the next day they are gone, or within a certain amount of time, by the time we actually even get to inspect and try to enforce, they're gone. So we have to start the time period again. So I think the whole point here was, again, trying to be as content neutral as possible, but also still understanding that real government interests exist with respect to reducing confusion and distractions and clutter and, quite frankly, trying to keep the aesthetics of the township where they should be. If the zoning commission feels that they need more time, certainly we can continue or postpone. But again, I think a lot of time and effort has been going through these. In addition, there was a lot of consideration of what other communities have in place. These are very similar to that. But that's kind of where we stand right now. I mean, the intent is to be content neutral.
Thank you, Bridie, for explaining that. So, obviously, we concur with that. We did discuss exactly that. The confusion, the distraction, the aesthetics, but there's no limitation at all, as we see it.
So if I have a sign that's a normal, you would define it as a temporary sign, and it says elect a candidate, and I put it in my yard now, and I keep it there continuously for a whole year. Would Heather knock on my door and tell me to take it down?
Well, yes.
No, I don't
No?
think she would.
You would.
Perfect.
She-
That is exactly what I'm saying.
She wouldn't, because we just discussed how, number one, how it is very hard
Oh,
to.
you said a whole year, I'm sorry.
Right. I mean, we cannot enforce and tell you to take down a sign that is a political sign, even if it actually meets the temporary sign definition.
But doesn't that create additional confusion for everybody who is working on a campaign to look through the zoning text and see signs during election and all the rest and say, oh, I can only put this up 60 days before the election? I mean, is that also a quiet intent of this? Is to restrict, as you said, making sure that that you're reducing as much clutter as possible so that you reduce the time frame that people think they can put up political signs when in fact they can put up political signs all year round.
And that's correct. They
That's
can
correct.
put up political
Yeah.
signs all
Yeah.
year round. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to jump in,
No,
Chairman.
you're
but-
right, yeah.
But,
yeah,
but,
you stand
and so
corrected.
I actually think a person working on a campaign or someone who's actually very familiar with this knows that there are, quite frankly, no regulations on political signs. So
Well-
they are not enforceable, and that is what we were trying to do by taking away any definition of political sign.
Right.
And any real regulation or definition, if you will, as to political sign. And that is why we also added that purpose. But again, these are going to be interpreted at all times as content neutral, and so that they do not abridge anyone's right to free speech. But on the other side, there is still that interest in trying to regulate and reduce clutter and confusion and distraction with respect to signs that, again, might not be political. So
Right. But
we're trying to balance that interest.
why wouldn't you put in a definition then of political signs and say that these regulations, just what you have in place right now, based on the court order, you put in, there are no regulations, time limits, size, number, whatever's in there. There's a paragraph in there right now that would state that so that people would know. That was a court-ordered requirement to put in that definition because previously there was a definition just like there is in now under the signs during election, which is code for political signs, but not. But it is because it talks about the election and so forth. But, I mean, it would really make people understand that political signs are different, and it's really important for people to understand that they have a right to free political speech at all times. And you say content neutral, but that means that somebody has to verify it to be content neutral. If there is a political sign that's not mentioned in the zoning text and all signs are content neutral, then Heather needs to look at every sign. And then in the section where you say every sign has to have a name and an address and a telephone number, again, that is not true for political signs. So that becomes a problem. So I really think you need to carve out that political sign to make political sign language to explain to the public what the fact that you seriously take this into account for your public speech.
I appreciate those comments. Absolutely, I do. I think we are of the belief that the purposes, as Bridie stated, H, took care of that. Without speaking to or defining political signs as you suggest, we're silent to it. We don't say it, but H is the purpose of the regulation. You're suggesting that we have to go further and define something that we're silent to because we're already accepting that. I mean, if there's a question.
Well, you're
That's-
inferring by
No,
saying
not inferring.
signs during.
Not inferring, we're saying
signs
purpose.
during elections is something that people would consider political signs. Signs during election. What kind of sign happens around elections? And then you're talking
sorts of
about signs during elections have a defined time. Right? So you're saying that signs during elections, so my Go Riverside football sign can be there 60 days before the election and 5 days afterward. But really, separately, it can only be there for 30 days and I have to take it away 4 times a year. So is it 4 times a year for 30 days plus the special election sign time? Or does that get combined? And why are there 2 sections right around elections? Why wouldn't we also have, if we're talking about clutter and things, why not around the winter holiday season? Shouldn't we reduce signs around that time? Because there's a whole lot of clutter going on then.
Any comments? Or I'm at a loss, to tell you the truth. feels comfortable.
There's
Any
one,
comments?
one word you can use, excluded,
I'm sorry.
around the definition of pertaining to a certain topic. You can always say excluded. And that takes care of that. I know it sounds simple, but it's a simple thing. Sitting there trying to explain, you can go on forever, paragraph after paragraph, about trying to slowly nitpick every little thing that we put in our regulations and leave it all up for interpretation. This document would be nothing. So if we're talking about a certain thing, be it an election sign, excluding. Bingo. One word. You don't have to worry about it. And if legal counsel says right now that they don't enforce it, what's being done already, why are we making such a big issue out of it? Right?
Okay.
Good point.
Tyra, any comments?
No comments.
Specifically on this one?
I'm still
At the-
thinking.
Yeah, that's fine. At this point, I want to go, I think, I want to kind of understand each of these again, just so that we're aware of it, are a little bit more informed of your questions and comments. I mean, I tried to take some notes here as you spoke.
No, I'm happy to answer
So,
anything.
3009G, I don't expect that we, the board can, I don't expect that we take action on these. We're in the public hearing. I just want to hear them more clearly and understand them more clearly. The second item, the second area that you,
So
Hit
did you
on.
want it 30.9 G and C? Did you understand those, the questions that I had?
there, G we just spoke to. C, yes, overlap, yes, I understand. Any questions? Do you understand the C section, which you raised?
Yes.
Right.
Relative to the temporary signs, not, 4 times a year, not to exceed 30 days, 30 days.
Right, is that
So
in
there
the,
are examples you brought up, for sale signs, garage sale, Go Riverside, et cetera, which I recall somebody saying,
We
Go
spoke about
Riverside,
all
we
those,
spoke
yeah.
exactly to that during deliberations on this. I remember those types. Okay, that's the 3009C. Ms. Pasek, the next one was?
the definitions,
Yeah.
30.02 on, we had temporary signs and permanent signs, permanent number 24 and temporary number 32. And then I questioned things like beware of dog or no soliciting or other signs that you'd expect to be there, more like a permanent sign, but not necessarily spending money on, you know, having to get a metal sign that would be permanently outside. But if I just printed it out and put it in my window, beware of dog, then it would be a temporary sign, and then I'd have to keep taking it down.
So, can the board comment on, because these are definitions. It's still not clear to me, this is a we're just defining it. Are you objecting to the definition? That's where my question is. I don't quite understand what you're,
So I guess.
it's a definition.
No, right. So when you only have 2 buckets like that, and they're so defined, where does the beware of dog sign fall in that? It's because I would print it out and put it in my window, right? Near the door, so somebody wouldn't, you know, or no soliciting. I wouldn't spend money and buy a metal one that would be able to go outside as a permanent sign, because it has to be suitable for continuous exposure to the elements without deterioration.
Okay, so to your example then, it's not a permanent sign.
Right,
It's in the window.
right.
Okay, so again, what's the question? These are definitions, so it's defined, I believe. I'm not the inspector, but it sounds like it's a
Right,
temporary sign.
but that kind of a sign goes even further than Go Riverside Football. That's a sign that I, as a homeowner, want to continuously display all year round. I have a dog all year round. I want to warn people that I have a dog all year round. It can't be a temporary sign. But so then I say, okay, it can't be a temporary sign. I have to make it a permanent sign. Then I have to make sure that it's constructed, operated, and maintained in a manner suitable for continuous exposure to the elements without deterioration. So I couldn't even print it and laminate it because water would still seep in. I have to go and get it made out of wood or metal or something. And then permanently attach it to the structure or a foundation in the ground. And is that the intent? It doesn't seem to me that would be the intent for you to put something onerous like that on homeowners where they just want to warn people about a dog or they want to say no solicitation or no trespassing or any other thing.
Let me we're going to take this under consideration, Ms. Pesic. What I'm hearing, what I'm thinking is, I differ from you. So it's just a definition. If you ask me, again, I'm not judge and jury. If you ask me, by putting the window sign, it is not exposed. It is not being deteriorated. It's in your window. So again, that's my.
But the temporary, I have to take it off.
I don't want to debate.
Right,
this
I
one.
know,
Let's
but
move
you
on
do
to-
understand, though, that you can't have it in your window more than 30 days. You must take it out of your window after 30 days and kennel your dog for 30 days.
If it's a temporary sign, correct. If it's a
Right.
temporary sign. Again,
Right.
let's just move on. What was the other
Okay.
one?
Prohibited signs, signs with wheels or signs on vehicles or trailers placed for attention getting,
Oh. right,
identification,
Right.
or advertising
Okay.
purposes. Maybe you mean like long-term parking, like, or, you know, you have a trailer that you leave there for 6 months just for an ad, maybe. I don't know what the intent was. All it just kind of didn't make sense. I thought, if I have a truck with Gorjank heating and cooling,
Okay.
and then we just already talked about the name, address, and telephone number
Oh,
on the
right.
political signs. That's, what one is that? 30.14,
30.14.
B4.
B4.
Yeah, sounds like you're playing bingo. B4.
Name and address. Okay. Questions, any questions, comments from the board? Well, Ms. Pesic's raised 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, comments on our regulation. Anything? We're still in public hearing, so.
Right, and right now, I don't know if we're going to keep discussing it all night. I think what we should do is,
We're receiving public comment. We're in public, I was wondering if there's any comment before we close the public hearing.
Well,
Or
I-
first of all, let me ask Ms. Do you have anything else to comment on?
No, I don't.
We got it,
But-
just make sure.
Right.
Thank you. Okay.
well, we don't have to close the public hearing. We can recess the public hearing and continue this on. Because once we close the public hearing, we have to make a decision on all this stuff. Are you ready? I'm not ready to make a decision, because I
Yeah,
think we
no.
have to talk about it now.
Can I ask Bridie, is that, yeah,
Yes.
that
Well, I think that you would have.
we have to continue?
Yeah, I think if you wanted to continue consideration, I
correct.
think you would want to continue the public hearing. Otherwise, yeah, there is a time frame as
That's correct.
when things have to move.
Yep.
We've been through this a lot, Frank, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. What are the wishes of the board? I'm open for continuance, but,
Same way.
Yeah,
okay.
yes.
Okay, can I get a motion for continuance of our public hearing of this date, March 3rd?
Just go
Is
ahead.
that motion
No.
fine?
Do you want to set it for when you would continue it? Would it be at the next
Oh,
Yeah.
meeting of the zoning commission, or is it going to be a special meeting of the zoning commission?
I'd hesitate to tie in a date since we're still,
Okay.
want to take these under consideration, right, as a board?
Sure.
How, can we table it indefinitely, or do we have to set?
I would think that you'd want to at least include it at your next hearing, at least on the agenda.
Okay.
If you're not ready to move forward on
Okay.
that day, then, I mean, I guess you could continue continuing it. if you vote.
We've done that before,
Right,
yeah.
you can keep recessing until we finally come to a decision
Yeah.
to close the meeting.
I don't know, Heather, have you had this experience before where we've continued the public hearing?
We've always continued it to the next month and
Okay.
set the date and
Okay.
time, yeah, and at
Okay.
the next
Yes.
hearing, you know,
Yes.
Just
you
like
guys
your,
can have an additional discussion, or
And
if there's
it-
changes that you want to incorporate into it.
Okay.
Okay, so,
just like your table, that one that's for old business, that stays on the agenda as tabled.
okay, so board, I will entertain a motion to continue this public hearing until our next meeting in April at 7 PM,
Yeah, April 7th.
April 7th, 7 PM. Do I have a motion for that?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to continue the public hearing till April 7th, 7 PM, to continue our conversation.
Thank you. I have a motion. I have a second.
Mr. Chairman, I second it.
Motion and a second to continue the public hearing till Tuesday, April the 7th at 7 PM. All in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much for
Okay.
your full discussion and attention to this. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see. I need motion to reopen.
Are we going to the public,
Yeah.
yep, the regular meeting?
continue.
Yes.
Okay. I will entertain a motion to reopen our regular meeting of March the 3rd.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to reopen our zoning commission meeting for March 3rd.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Aye, not opposed. All right, we're back into our regular meeting, and we can discuss the amendments further. I'll just open it to the floor. Before I do, I might, can we?
I mean, you certainly,
we?
you can,
Yeah.
but again, there's not going to be any recommendation made
Correct.
to the trustees. You cannot vote, so.
Correct, I was just thinking in the interest of time, if we're going to a public hearing next month, we still need time to discuss the
I see.
amendment. How do we do that if a public hearing is set for April?
Right, I mean, I would probably just wait until the public hearing to actually discuss. I mean, you certainly can talk, it's on the agenda. You can discuss the amendments, but there cannot be any recommendation tonight.
No, I
Right.
wasn't gonna, yeah, I was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. My concern is if the board felt we needed to make some revisions, yet we gotta go to a public hearing next month, that's what
I see.
I'd like to discuss it.
Sure.
Yeah, discuss, that's it.
Well, we have in the past, since I've been on this board
I'm not
for
gonna take any action.
many years, we have called for special sessions. You know, where we can meet, a work session, where we can just meet to discuss this, correct?
Yes, you can. Again, it would not be,
It doesn't, you're right, it's just us,
Yeah,
just the board.
yeah.
And it doesn't have to be, you know, it can be between now and April, our next meeting.
Yeah.
We can discuss this if we want to.
While I agree with that, we have nothing else on the agenda. I'd like to discuss the amendments. Some comments, just some thoughts,
Fine, that's good.
just to get it out, if there are any.
Okay, well, let's go one by one.
One by one, 3009G.
Okay.
30 point what?
3009, 30.09G. My feeling is that we have discussed this, we deliberated, we had strong recommendations from our legal counsel, we have inserted the purpose, and we've been advised that we're not in conflict with the consent judgment entry that was township entered into. It's hard for me to not go by that.
Well, I think G, the way it's been written, in my interpretation and my feeling, I believe we've addressed that. I can't see that we've taken anybody's freedom of speech away from this particular issue on G. You know? I'm not telling somebody what they can put out there on their sign or not put out there on their sign. So I don't believe we violated anyone's freedom of speech. Now, that's me. The way I interpret, the way I believe we've worked on it and addressed it over the months. So, that's me.
Okay. Thanks, Frank.
You're welcome.
And I know,
Ron?
so speaking for me, we spoke about this a lot,
Yes, we did.
a lot,
A lot.
right? And then we put it down for a little bit, and then we come back to it, we put it down, and we, like 2 meetings ago, we read this over and over and over again. One, to make sure there was no inference, there was no nothing in there. And even when we spoke about it, we even refrained from any words of political or anything.
Right.
Because we spoke about, right, so for up to 30 days, for the primary special election, and the general election, and we made sure we added those in because we followed the Board of Elections and what they call out as election. We added in to make sure we weren't varying from that. So I have to say, I'm comfortable between staff and legal. I'm comfortable the way it is.
Anything, Hiram? Hiram, please.
I've read this thing many times, over and over and over again. And we're not, the number of signs permitted on any residential lot is not restricted. Put up what you want. And it just says, here's when you can start, and here's when you can end. But that, other than that, other than the size, okay? But I don't think there's anything in it that restricts or limits any freedom of anything. I'm sorry, I don't. But
Okay. Okay. The second item is 30.09, second section, 30.09, temporary signs, C2. C.2. In this was brought to our attention here, temporary signs shall be displayed no more than 4 times a year for periods not to exceed 30 days. So the examples we just spoke to related to for sale signs and school signs and whatnot. I believe our intent again was,
Not football signs for your football team. Not that, right? Or soccer, or whatever.
but I believe our intent was to watch for the general clutter, the aesthetics of our community, safety, distractions, etc. That was, I think, our intent on temporary signs. Now, the example about a house for garage or a house for sale, obviously it's going to extend more than, could easily extend more than 30 days.
Definitely.
And it's, sell by owner. In those instances, Heather, is it like we just could waive this type? Or is there a consideration for something like that, for taking exception? There are always exceptions to the rules, as they say.
We didn't
what are
bake
your
in
thoughts?
any exceptions into the proposed language. But from a practical standpoint, the zoning inspector is not going to be going out proactively looking for signs that may violate the 30 days. And as we discussed in several other meetings, it would likely be a complaint-driven, and the zoning inspector would have to do their own due diligence to determine timeframes. So if there was an alleged violation on a time frame for a sign, like I would do with any zoning violation, I would go out the day I received it, photograph it, and then I would, if depending on if it was a time frame kind of thing, it's something you'd have to,
Mm-hmm.
Verify.
Mm-hmm.
But
Heather, one
it
thing-
also, the other thing is if it's past the time frame, maybe it's not a temporary sign anymore, maybe it's a permanent sign. So does it, but again, I think we have to have some starting point,
Yeah.
something to work off of when trying to manage temporary signs. We are permitted to regulate their location, the size of them, how long they're allowed to be displayed. And so we were trying to give residential properties what we thought was an adequate amount of time to put whatever signs they want out throughout the year. What we have in the resolution currently was very restrictive, like regarding what the message said on the sign, which was what we were trying to get away from. Like, I shouldn't have to read the sign to know how to enforce the regulations. Like, okay, is this a real estate sign or is this a contractor sign? That should not be of a concern. I should not, it should be, okay, is it in the right location, the size and height, and how long is it there? And that's what we were trying to do there.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Perfect
temporary signs shall be displayed no more than 4 times per calendar year for periods not to exceed 30 days. So 4 times. So I could put the sign up 30 days, put up for another 30 days, take it down, right? If you want to,
Yes,
sort of
you
what it
can.
says, right? So that's
Well,
up to
but you can only
120
do that
days.
4 times.
4 times, 120 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as Heather explained, we have it's a baseline
Yes.
point of, I don't want to say compliance, but standard that we're
Right.
looking for in the community, and it's complaint driven. I mean, it's not gonna, like you said, it's not
Well,
gonna.
yeah, and it's also not like whenever the police marks down what time you hit the meter, and whenever it says 30 minutes,
Yeah,
then
right,
he clicks his clock and he comes back 31 minutes later and he gives you a ticket.
right,
What happens here?
right.
Probably nothing.
Nothing.
But if something were to happen, you'd say, take your sign down for a day.
Yeah.
Put it back up the next day. Yeah, it might not fit the football or the soccer, but I'll tell you what, if anybody complained about my kid playing soccer with my sign in the front yard for more than 30 days, I don't know what I'd do.
You'd be talking to him.
Well, it might be something more than talk.
Yeah. Well, in general, Heather, the only time you actually try to enforce something like this, if you get a complaint, right? If someone in the if the sign's been up there for months and months and months, and no one in the neighborhood has complained about it, you wouldn't bother trying to go out there and cause discomfort to that.
Based on purely a time frame, likely not.
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Size, location, those kind of safety things. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, yes, probably, I would, yeah.
I got a neighbor across the street, and he's got two lovely boys, and they play all kinds of sports. And they got their little signs in there, and they're jumping up and down. They enjoy, oh, look what we did, Mom. You know, and they're playing in the yard all the time. To me, that's a more pleasing thing to see, rather than I'm upset that they have their signs in there with the boys are involved with, you know? And I don't think anybody basically would say anything in the neighborhood, to be honest with you. I feel good that they're out there playing, and they're good and healthy, and enjoying life. And to worry about if they have their little banner out there, if the thing's only this big, it's up against the porch. You have to really look for it to see it anyway, you know? But that's me. So I don't think this regulation we have it right now, yes, it's a regulation, but like you said, you take each thing under consideration.
Yeah.
You know, and I think 99% of residents would be the same way, feel the same way.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would hope so.
If you're any kind of a human being, especially what you see what's happening in our world today, I mean, worrying about a sign is beyond my concern. I think most people also.
Okay,
That's
thank you.
what- You're welcome.
Thank you. The third one, just move along here, is the definitions, number 24 and 32. They're on pages 30.5 and 30.4 and 30.5. This is permanent and temporary signs. I think the question before us is temporary sign because it's in the window, is it a temporary sign?
No, a window sign can be either permanent or temporary,
It's kind of what,
right?
yeah, I'm gonna, Heather, am I interpreting that as Hiram just said, the same way? the
Yeah.
Window sign,
Yeah, I mean, it could be permanent or temporary.
so as a definition, I feel like the way it's worded, both of them are fine. It just establishes the standard from which each of those are defined.
I concur.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think 35 is fine,
Yep.
and I think 30, or 24,
And 32.
32.
32.
Okay, I'm looking at window
Yeah,
sign.
32. But to your point, 35, window sign can be temporary or permanent.
Right, that's where I was
Which
reading.
is, right,
Yeah, I think they're both, I'm
Right.
sorry, I think they're fine.
yeah. I'm looking over our legal counsel. Bridie, if there is anything that you feel like we're missing,
Right.
feel free to
No, I don't think
interject.
I will.
If it's something legal that maybe we're not saying. Thank you. 30.12, 30.12F, signs on vehicles. Placed for attention-getting, identification, or advertising is prohibited. So vehicles or trailers parked in their driveway with, and an advertising sign that says their company's name. But I often see that, Heather, I mean, there's plenty of, in my neighborhood, he's got a van, it's his company's sign is on the van. I,
Yeah, now that
Right.
I'm looking, at what we had and what we're
Yeah.
proposing now.
oh, what we have,
um,
yeah, okay.
That I'm looking at the red line, yeah, that's definitely the way to look at it.
Good idea.
Yeah, on page 30.34. Page 30.34.
Got it,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Seeing this F there.
Yep,
Um, Rereading what we had, I think maybe, I think it was a good point brought up by Ms. Pesic that we could be creating a gray area by saying this,
Yes.
because we do allow, homeowners to bring home their work vehicle,
Yeah.
right? That might say where they work on the side of it, or,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we add back in the section that talks about, placed in locations not normally expected for
normally
such
expected.
vehicles.
Mhm.
And maybe that kind of, so we could relook at that. I kind of like some of the stuff we added, maybe there's a way we could rephrase that to maybe allow for that still, but not to allow for someone to just bring the vehicle somewhere and park it, like in front of the shopping center, sideways across 4 parking spots, or something or at a random park, over the weekend. I'd be happy to take a look at that, and we can
Yeah,
maybe tweak that a
I would
little bit.
agree. That's one that's worth our,
Because there are more people with their company vehicles,
Right.
Yeah,
where people,
Right.
yeah.
COVID put a lot of people home working, so.
yeah,
Oh, good point.
yeah.
Absolutely. Good, thank you. Any comment, Frank or Hiram?
No,
Good.
that's-
Great.
that's-
Oh, very good.
Fine.
Very good, thank you. 30.14. That would be on page 3023. The name, address, and telephone number for a sign. Placed on the frame or other supports large enough to be read by a person standing sidewalk, whether in sign. That's a maintenance standard for all signs. So,
I know. I remember when Hiram brought this up at the one meeting. Remember Hiram?
Yeah, I remember just thinking,
right.
Yeah.
That's right, you did.
Because
That's
I thought this section just at that time was just related to just permanent signs, but the way it's phrased, this whole section is for all signs. So, I don't know this is anything that I've ever requested or looked for when I've gotten an application for even a permanent sign permit. So, I mean, if it's causing confusion or we don't think it's necessary, I don't know. I mean, maybe Hiram wanted it taken out too. Originally, I'm not.
What
It's not
purpose
anything that I've ever looked for or asked for on a permit.
What purpose does it serve?
Other than like, if there's an issue with the sign, somebody would know who to contact about the sign.
Okay, okay.
I don't know, but like for me, the sign's gonna be on a property. If I have an issue with the sign, I go to the property owner or
Property
the
owner.
tenant or whoever the business is or the resident or whoever.
Who's ever in the window looking at you?
Yeah.
Is curious, is that the way it read?
What?
Is that the way it read?
Yes, that's the.
Oh.
Oh yeah, we didn't change
We didn't
anything
change
there.
that one.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. There were no changes proposed there. Yeah.
I think what I objected to was, shall only be large enough to read by a person standing on the ground,
You
sidewalk,
did.
or parking lot.
Yes.
versus-
Oh,
I said, there's no way you're gonna get that,
Yes, you did.
no way.
okay.
That was my objection there.
Oh, my, okay.
You could always put that on the back of the sign if you wanted to.
I mean, the sign is in the yard or on the property, So you do have a name, if it's a, whatever it is.
Right.
If it's a homeowner or a business owner, the information is right there. And usually if it's a company that did put the sign up, their name is on there for their advertisement of.
Right. Seems to me that we might consider striking number 4 altogether.
That's going through my mind.
Yeah. I just saw Heather blink, like, yes.
Oh, no, I was just, yeah, I mean, if that, or otherwise try to clarify that it's for permanent signs, I guess, because I don't believe the intent was for,
I
just
think you're
temporary
right.
yard signs or
I
anything.
think you're right, yeah.
I don't know, but then that gets,
But then for
then
permanent.
it still causes, a question, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Why don't you strike it?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Just
Probably the
strike
best
it.
way to issue it, then there won't be any misunderstandings about anything.
okay.
It's just what's the end game?
Yeah,
So,
right.
You have name, address, phone number.
Right.
Every sign. So we're in concurrence to strike that
Strike number 4.
number 4,
Right.
30.14B4. Okay. So to, can I, since we decided to move to strike that, oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah. In summary then, 30.12F, Heather will re-examine that using some of the prior language, modify that language.
I could come back
We
at
agree
the
with
next,
that?
yeah, the next meeting with
Next
a
meeting.
couple proposed modifications. So
modification.
this language as initiated would still say the same.
Yes.
So hang on to this, bring this with you.
Yes.
And then when we continue the next public hearing, and if
Yes.
there are any other modifications that the commission would want to include
Right.
and recommend to the trustees, we'll articulate those with the vote
Okay.
after the public hearing and after everything, and what those modifications
Right,
would be.
so that and the 30.14B4, we moved to strike. The other sections, articles that we discussed, I think the board is in concurrence with keeping the text as is. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for commenting, and I think that was worth a few minutes
Oh,
to
sure,
go
sure.
through that.
I agree.
Go through those
Yes.
points that were raised, which I thought were good, really good points. And thank you for bringing that to our attention. So that will end that will conclude that item on our agenda then. Since we'll continue the public hearing, and then we will reconsider post-public hearing approval of those amendments at the April meeting. They'll still be on the agenda, am I correct?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
We will consider approving the amendments after the public hearing next month. They will still be on our agenda.
Yeah, yes, yeah. So if the public hearing is closed next month, then
Yes.
you have 30 days to vote on it.
To vote on it.
Check the calendar so that you probably have to vote that night unless you do a special meeting. Generally, that's how our zoning commission meetings fall, yeah.
Good, thank you, board, thank you, board members. That concludes that part of on our agenda. We have old business that remains. One is establishing a designated final date for the completion of the sidewalk in accordance with the agreement between Concord Township Zoning Commission and the IN9 Group LLC for the property located at Old Corral and Corral Road, being parcel number 08-A-020-0-00-048-0. This item will remain tabled. until July 2026. For item number 2, I had suggested we have tabled the election of a vice chair. Without objection from the board, I would say that we remain tabled until we have new members on our board. Moving along then, any correspondence to report? Frank?
None, Mr.
Any
Chairman.
correspondence? Hiram?
None, Mr. Chairman.
Ron?
None.
And I have similarly not received any correspondence. So last but not least, a report from Heather on activities.
Which I actually do not have one this evening.
Oh, I was so looking forward to it.
Were you really?
Thanks, Heather. Our next meeting, April the 7th, 2026. There being no further business for the board, this meeting stands adjourned.
Adjourn.